What's up everyone, Wesley Malott here with another episode of For no budget filmmakers, we are almost always forced to shoot car scenes either from inside the car like this.
Point of having a badge if you're gonna drive like a driver!
Or like this. And I know that these shots can get rather stale whenever you're forced to constantly do them every time you need a driving sequence for your film. Well, Hugh Tran is swinging by today to show you a really cool DIY car mount that he's been working on so that you can achieve more cinematic driving sequences and add more tools to your storytelling arsenal. Before we dive in, let's take a look at everything that we're going to need to complete this build, which consists of some things that you'll need to grab online and some stuff that you can grab at your local hardware store. So for this particular build, you will need 4 RigWheel magnets, 3 cheese plates, 1 3/8 inch screw, 12 1/4 inch screws, 4 3/8 inch hooks, 3 1/4 inch hooks, 9 CamJam XD cord tighteners or latch hooks, 4 roof pack strap hooks, 2 anchor straps, 3 ropes, a tripod head, and some nuts. You can use these nuts. Not that type of nuts, you freak! Our full shopping list with links is in the description below if you want to check out the parts. Again, this is a fully DIY build, so if for some reason you're not fully confident in one of the parts that we picked out, you can always swap it out for something that you feel would be more secure. The first thing that we want to do is create the base for the camera. We need to make a small raised platform to be able to mount our tripod head. So we'll put our 3/8 inch screw directly into the middle of our first cheese plate, and then place 4 1/4 inch screws around it. Now we need to create kind of an H shape out of our cheese plates. So let's line up our tripod plate on top of our first cheese plate, and we'll use 4 of our 1/4 inch screws to attach the cheese plates together. Once we have this side together, we'll jump to the other side. Make sure it's all lined up, and then again, use 4 1/4 inch screws to screw these together. I tightened all of the screws initially by hand, but then went back over all of them with an Allen wrench to make sure that they were tight and secure. Once we're finished screwing the cheese plates together, you'll get a base that looks like this. Next, we'll place our 4 RigWheel magnets on each of the corners and screw them in. On the opposite side, we'll use a nut and screw it onto the bolts to ensure our magnets are securely screwed onto the base. Next, we're going to take our tripod head and place it onto the 3/8 screw on our middle cheese plate. We'll screw it in to make sure the head is nice and secure and isn't going anywhere. Now, since we're using an older tripod head, we used the 3 extra screws to help cut down on any unwanted movement from the head. These screws don't actually have any holes to screw into on the bottom of the tripod head, so you'll just have to tighten them to make sure they're snug against the head, and this is all just to help prevent the head from turning while you're driving. Now that you have these steps completed, you have a fully functional car mount that can be placed securely anywhere on the car. The RigWheel magnets are rated for 50 pounds each and do a great job of holding onto the car by themselves, but you always want to add extra security, so if anything goes wrong, you always have a backup system in place to secure your camera. So next, we'll take our 4 3/8 inch hooks and screw them into the corners of our mount. And if you have a camera cage, which we highly recommend, we'll screw 3 1/4 inch hooks into our camera cage. 1 on each of the sides, and then you can screw the last hook either on top of the cage or on a side of the cage that doesn't have any accessories mounted to it. If you do place it on top, just make sure that the rope you attach to it later doesn't get in front of your lens. So next, we'll pop the hood and place these 2 anchor straps on each side of the hood. And then we'll add 2 of these roof packs hook straps to the front of the hood and 2 to the back of the hood. Then we'll take our rope, putting it through the first latch hook, taking it down through the anchor straps, back up through the latch hook on the other side, pulling it through the teeth to make sure it's nice and snug. Then we'll run it down through our hook strap and back up to another latch hook. The purpose of all this rope is so that even if something on the magnet mount were to fail, we have all this rope helping to secure the camera in place as well. With any excess rope, we'll just run it back through our hook strap and then tie it to the hook that's attached to the cage. Now you'll repeat these steps for the other side and the front of the camera. And finally, you'll have a fully DIY car mount that looks like this. Now remember, when you're shooting car sequences, to always use a polarizer, otherwise you can get really bad windshield reflections that just completely obscure your subject's faces. If we want to go one step further and you have a 3-axis gimbal such as a Ronin S or a Zhiyun crane, we can attach that to our tripod head. This will enable us to raise the camera a little bit higher, and we can also control the positioning of our camera better and remotely through the mobile apps. To do this, you'll need a small rig mounting clamp that'll attach around the gimbal, and we'll add 2 more latch hooks to it. Then we'll just re-rig the rope on the front of our mount to go through the hooks on the Ronin and back down to our base. Now, Hugh's Ronin setup, as you can see, is a little more complicated. It's pretty beefy since he's running the camera, Ronin, and wireless transmitter all off a V-mount battery. And if you're interested in doing something similar, let us know in the comments below and we can do a video on that in the future. But now, not only can we adjust the camera up and down and side to side as we film, but we are able to use the DJI app and set pinpoints to incorporate more dynamic, more cinematic camera movement into our shots. Now that you have a reliable DIY car mount, you can experiment with placing the camera in different positions to get more interesting shots. You'll just have to be a little creative with where you are rigging your rope for extra security. For instance, this camera setup, we had to rig the anchor straps to the car door and then run the rope through the inside of the car and attach it to the ceiling handles. For any of these setups, just always triple check to make sure that all of your points of security are nice and secure before taking your car on the road. And also make sure that the driver can actually get into the car. Now this specific build cost about $150, but you can lower that cost by shopping around for different brands and or reducing parts. For instance, this build uses 3 cheese plates from Small Rig, which are about $28 a piece, but you can shop around for cheaper alternatives. If you're interested in trying out this build for yourself, everything we use to create it is linked in the description below. If you're a fan of our channel and want to support it, we now have a brand new Patreon where our supporters get early access to our videos and big bigger, longer, more detailed behind the scenes. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Gear. Mike does it better. Cue it. Gear.